Hey everyone, welcome back to GlassRatner's Business Interruption webinar series. Today we have a special guest, that is Dr. Claudia Martinez. Dr. Martinez is a member of GlassRatner's Econometrics group in Washington, D.C., and is here to give us some of her thoughts on how we go about breaking out and tying business interruption losses specifically to insured property versus breaking out some of the economic effects of COVID specifically. So, Claudia, thanks for joining us, and look forward to having some of your thoughts about some of the economic impacts of COVID and then some of the other catastrophes that we've seen of late. So, if you can give us a real quick introduction to yourself, how did you come about with GlassRatner, and give us a little bit of your background? We appreciate it.
Hi, sure. Hi, Mike, and hi, everyone. As Mike said, I am Claudia Gonzalez Martinez. I have a PhD in economics. I have focused all my life in labor economics, healthcare, and quite a bit in impact evaluation, which is what brings us here most of all, because how do we estimate the impact of this business interruption that were driven by COVID? I came to GlassRatner in November last year, and I have been here since then and trying to develop and integrate with everybody. I think there's a lot of good things that we can do together, especially mixing what I can do with what the rest of GlassRatner can do in my team.
Yeah, obviously that skill set really parlays well with a lot of the business insurance that we're seeing these days. There's so many economic considerations that need to be looked at when we're trying to measure a business interruption loss, and that's where I think your skill set really jives well with a lot of the issues that we're seeing these days. So just in general, I mean, we've talked for a number of weeks about business interruption and what we're seeing, just in 2020 in general. And the way that I view things is there's many of the high contact industries that have financial damages. So to the extent you do have a business who thinks they may have an insurable loss because of COVID, how do we go about trying to separate some of the wider economic issues that pretty much every business is seeing from what the damages may be related to an insurable business itself and the physical loss of their property?
Okay, so just to fix ideas, I'm going to talk about restaurants. That this does not apply to restaurants only. It can apply to gyms and any other type of business, but this is just to think a little bit more concrete. So what we're seeing is that a restaurant is faced with COVID. Some people start coming because they're afraid of getting COVID. For other side, the government comes and locks down, and their earnings go to zero. They may be doing some business on the side, like doing deliveries or pickup, but their demand has gone to zero, and we don't know which part of it can be allocated to the government saying you need to close up, or to the people not coming. And this is where the losses come in. Because if people is just not coming, they're just not coming, that's not business interruption in the terms of insurance. But if you're not making money because the government forced you to lock down, then that's another story. And this is when we want to try to figure out which part is which. How do we measure it? In terms of impact evaluation, in this case, this can be seen as measuring the impact of the government's order to close up. The insurance is going to say your business could have gone to zero no matter what. But if that is true, then why do we need to close up? Why do we need this order? And an example of this is what is happening right now in Texas and in Florida, when everybody's going out and the cases of COVID are going up and people are still going out. So there is a demand out there. Now, how do we measure this? In terms of impact evaluation, what you want to see is a situation where COVID happened and there was not a lockdown issue, and compared to that, that will give you the difference of what is allocated to the government closeout order and what part is allocated to the decrease in demand. And here we have several options. One is to look at restaurants that didn't close up, or areas that took much longer time in putting the order to lockdown, or areas that open up early. Or we can look at completely different countries such as Sweden that never closed down their economy. Yes, they do have economic losses because the demand went down, but they never close up. And we see that many of the restaurants are still functioning, they're still having demand, and they're still surviving. And this is where we need to do the calculations, compare it, say, okay, what is most similar to me and how can I compare? And this comparison is it's gonna give me where to allocate my losses.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but we're going to continue this conversation next week. So until then, thanks for joining and look forward to seeing you back. Thanks.